Welcome into Defeating the Curse, DTC. It could also be Don't Trash Carson, Destroying the Commanders, Defaulting to Capitals, whatever we need to do in DC to kind of get through the weeks between these trash games that we've been watching of the Washington Commanders. It's been brutal, LP. It's been brutal. We've
You
exhausted all we can exhaust about what to complain about at this point.
you don't need to look any further than the last time we podcasted. Last time we
Agreed.
podcasted, I was sick as shit. We were 1-1, and I was like, I don't care, FP, let's go. I'll go with a hoarse voice. Doesn't matter. Last week, we were just defeated. The team sucks. Everything about the team sucks. And I just couldn't find it in me to get on this damn microphone and talk about this team because
I've been dying to get behind the microphone because I have
why?
so
What's
much
the
pent
It's
up
the same
frustration.
old shit. It's the
Yeah,
same old shit.
it's
Like
30 years of the same shit, but it's still witnessing it now, witnessing it with Ron Rivera, witnessing it with the culture change. Like great, you I don't know what culture changed. What did like I didn't think we had divas before, but apparently the the on the field product, the culture did not change. The coaching staff has been letting us down time after time, week after week. And then this week, you have Ron Rivera coming out there. Did he not throw Carson under the bus? Did he say a quote? Did he backtrack it? Did he get taken out of context? Look, let's put it this way. We're going to break this podcast down into topics. Topic 1, frustrations with Ron Rivera and the coaching staff. Topic 2, it is not Carson Wentz's fault. He is not playing terribly. He is doing pretty damn well if you look at numbers across the league for what he has to work with. And then topic number 3, this team as a whole and what they need to do to get better. It's insane to me that Ron Rivera is not being like a man of character himself when it comes to a coach. Not because of what he said. Like he said what he said about Jamin. He said what he said about Carson. That's not what I'm talking about. What I'm talking about is take ownership of yourself. Remember the
the
quotes that you
accountability
said.
of the total
Yeah.
product. And the
Remember what
total
he said
product
when he got
is
hired, right? When he got hired, he was like, "Look, we still don't have our quarterback. We're going to try to find the guy, but until then, we're going to build up this team so that when the guy comes in, he can come in and we can compete." That was what he said. That was the gist of what he said. And then this week, the not taken out of context thing he said about Carson Wentz was all the other NFC East teams, Giants 4-1 just beat the Packers, Eagles 5-0, Cowboys 4-1 with Cooper Rush just beat the Rams. All those teams who have immediately turned things around, they went to Ron Rivera. They're like, why are these teams better than the Commanders? And he says, quarterback. Now he's not throwing Carson under the bus. The DC media and nation media went wild with that, but it's true. They have quarterbacks and systems longer and they built around it, whatever. But Ron Rivera,
I'm gonna push back on that because Cooper Rush is a backup quarterback.
he's been in the
Sure,
system
he's
though.
been in the system. Doesn't matter.
I
Daniel
agree. Push
Jones
back.
is absolutely trash.
They didn't even give him his extension, his 5th year option.
Yeah,
He's trash.
he's trash, and they still find a way to give Saquon the ball and let him be the workhorse.
And they have a significantly crappier roster than the Commanders.
Who
Outside of Saquon, they have zero,
name
nothing.
one receiver for the Giants?
Exactly,
You can't.
exactly.
They
But Ron
are
Rivera,
not a
you
good
were the
team.
architect. You were the architect of this team from the top bottom, like from the top. Like Dan Snyder, Ron Rivera, GMs, Ron Rivera, coaching staff, Ron Rivera scouting team. Like you're all over this thing,
And
and you're gonna say
almost every single player has been handpicked by Ron Rivera
yes,
or
and handpicked for the
made
worst.
made with intentions that Ron's going to keep them around,
Yes,
like
and every
Terrorism.
player that we have lost has been a Ron Rivera decision. Morgan Moses gone, Brandon Sheriff gone, Eric Flowers gone. Oh, our O line sucks. Let's bring in a wash up from the Panthers and the Jags. Normal gets pancaked against the Texans or the
And
Titans.
another wash up in Trey Turner, who he's benched.
Yes. Do you know? Actually, sidetrack about Norwell. There was a 4-game spread in the Titans game, like 4 games or 4 plays. It was penalty, Norwell, sack on Norwell, penalty on Norwell, sack on Norwell. 4 plays, back to back to back to back, all Norwell. You're gonna tell me Eric Flowers can't do better than that
while you have cap space.
while
It's
you
not
have cap space? Yes.
and you have the flexibility to make cap space if you needed it. You could have restructured people. You could have done anything. Anything. Any
I'm heated. I'm
GM in
heated.
this league could have made.
We didn't even touch on benching William Jackson III, who has the second highest contract on this
Who he
team.
signed. Who he
Yes.
signed last year
Yes.
to a massive deal.
Yes.
Whatever. It's $40 million. It's not that big in
It's that
terms of
big for
other.
not playing and getting benched.
It's that big for cornerbacks too. This is Ron's fault, 100%. The offense is predictable. The defense is predictable. And Ron decided not to make a change at coordinator after 2 years of predictable offense and defense.
Yeah.
No one has excelled. Players are not playing they're not playing above their levels. They're, for the most part, playing below their levels. He's 100% at fault for all of this. Now, I'll flip the coin and say that this is par for the course for Ron. We started 1-4, 2 out of the 3 years under Ron. He always starts the game slow, and he always starts the season slow. This is exactly what he is. This is what he does.
Is that acceptable?
No, it's not. It's not acceptable because
it's not. Because
you
when
had
you
a
look
chance.
at the Giants at
You had a
4-1,
chance with a rebuild. You had a chance with a rebrand,
yes,
a new name.
yes,
FedEx Field has been the most packed I've seen in 10 years since
we
Rob.
are dying to go and support this team. The fans are showing up dying to go, and we're constantly let down. And yes, Ron Rivera, because of his horniness for the military, he's the reason why we are called the Commanders, or one of the big reasons why we're called the Commanders. It's
That doesn't matter what the name is. I'm
doesn't
fine with
matter
the
what
name
the
because
name is.
DC is a military. We're the capital of the United States. That's fine. That makes sense. It matches with our city.
But
All those things. I don't care about that. I care
when
about
you when
the
you look
product on the
at
field.
when you look at Brian Dable and what he's doing with the Giants, that he is the torch lighting Ron's seat on fire. Him right there. Because the Giants, 100% through the entire time since we've hired Ron, have been the seller of the NFC East, have had zero playmakers, have had injury bugs up the ass, have had terrible GMs, ownerships, and whatever.
Terrible contracts.
Anything that we can complain about, the Giants can complain about it double. And yet,
They
four
beat
and
the
one,
Packers and
and
they're
they
four and
beat
one.
quality teams. They beat the Packers with Daniel Jones, who by the way, I don't know if you watched that game. It was a Sunday morning London game. Daniel Jones looked really efficient, and I get that's what Ron is trying to get at. But Daniel Jones just learned this Brian Dable system, so you can't say he's been in the system. They built the team around him. It's a new system. He has known his system as long as Carson has known our system. And yet Daniel Jones looks to be playing great. Now let's pivot that
It's
into
not
the
it's
Carson.
not a,
Yeah.
it's not a reasonable excuse.
No,
You know what?
pivot into the Carson discussion. This is not Carson Wentz's fault at all. Is he annoying? Yes. Does he make boneheaded moves? Yes. Does he make
Were the last
sometimes
3
bad
plays of
mistakes?
the game horrible? Yes. And was that on the quarterback? Yes. But it was
But it was
also on the
also
play.
on play calling. Yes.
I get that you have to pass the ball 3 times. I'm good with that. I'm bad with the play calls that they picked. Why are they going in the middle of the field when it's so congested? Why are they going to J.D. McKissick when you have Terry McLaurin at receiver? You have Cole Turner, who is 10 feet tall and can outjump anybody on the defense.
Yep.
You have Cam Sims, who's a former basketball player who can jump out of the building.
And yet
And
Dax Milne was in. Dax
and you
Milne
and you don't
was
throw
in.
a toss-up ball to any of these tall receivers. It's unacceptable. Yeah, I don't
It's
I
also
don't I don't get the play
unacceptable
call.
when you
And
look at
hold
all
on,
the other teams.
the whole game you had Brian Robinson coming back from getting shot. After all that emotion, you run the ball 10 times before that drive. 10 times
It's not
all
even listen.
game.
even about the Brian Robinson thing. You know what? Great that he came back. Great that it was his first game back or his first game of his career. That's great. But you don't change the entire game plan that specific week to bring him in. Keep him on a pitch count, get him a couple touches, but
They
still
had
run the
10
rock.
runs. He was
No,
on a
but
pitch count.
no, but I'm saying run the rock heavy with Gibson. It doesn't have to go straight to the Brian Robinson story. Run it with the guy that's done it for 2 years. Who yes, he fumbles, but I mean, come on. You don't have to go straight to the guy rehabbing from shot up knees. Like
Yeah.
there's just so many decisions that don't make sense from just the coaching staff. And when you watch every other game, every other week, every other time slot, right? Does Diggs get open all the time for Allen? Yes. Gabriel Davis is their barn burner. And he had 2 receptions for 180 yards. He got open. Uh, Justin Jefferson constantly getting the ball from Kirk, constantly getting open. Devontae Adams. All these star receivers are being schemed open, are being play designed open, right? And yet for us and Terry, not
Or
working.
or they force the ball to their number one receiver and he makes plays. We don't force the ball to Terry. He
It's not
hasn't
even
gotten
forcing the
he
ball to Terry.
hasn't
We don't
has he
give
gotten
Terry a
any
chance to shine. We
yeah,
don't
he hasn't
draw
gotten
him
any
open.
touches in the first quarter
No, we
all
don't
season.
draw the man open. We're so vanilla in our scheme. And Scott Turner, I don't know. He went up to the booth for the Titans game. Did that help? No. I, is
What
that
I
is
don't
that your
understand
solution
about
as a
Scott
coaching
is
staff?
week one Scott had an amazing game plan. I thought I'm not a Scott Turner fan. I gave him credit week one because
Yes,
there was a lot
different
of
packages,
misdirection.
looks,
There
exotic
Curtis Samuel was touching
design.
everyone was touching the ball. I don't know how he regressed to I'm gonna call the most vanilla offense ever.
It's because he had
It doesn't
3 months to plan for the Jaguars game, and he doesn't know how to do it week by week. I don't think he
I
truly
think
understands how to scout game tape for the next upcoming team and design plays. I think he has
no,
his set
honestly,
plays and he picks which ones he wants for the week. I don't think he designs play based off defenses that we're facing.
no, I think it's actually that the Lions game completely tripped him up when the Lions just brought all kinds of pressure against Wentz, and we just looked inept on offense. And because of that, he's scared to do something different. Like, how many times is Wentz running off a bootleg, or moving out of the pocket, or moving up and down the pocket? Like he's standing there, 7-step drop, like a statue, and that's on the play call. Like, and then we also heard what last week that Wentz is not allowed to audible.
Yeah, and he was audibling on Sunday, something hot routes run. But like
If we were to go blame pie, coaching, offense, defense, special teams, how would you split up the pie?
we actually discussed this in our chat. So I'm going to go a little bit more granular. I want to see Scott Turner changed. And then I want
No, 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 no. I'm
immediately.
talking about blame pie. Let's go blame pie first. Then you can divert into whatever you want. Coaching, offense, defense, special teams.
I mean, coaching
100%.
100%, number one and two. And then I'm
You
gonna
you
go.
you you filled up the pie. The pie is only 100%.
All right, well there you go.
What,
Coaching.
coaching?
Yeah.
I'm gonna go 60% coaching, 25% offense, 15% defense. And defense was what we were worried about. Week one they sucked. Week two they sucked. It seems like JDR's not turned things around, but at least we're not.
Benching WJ3, bringing in Wild Goose, bringing in BSJ. Those are, you know
Jamin
what?
Davis has played a little
Moves,
bit better.
moves.
Like at
JDR
least
has
things are
done stuff.
happening.
Yes, JDR has done stuff where we're seeing different things happen, right?
We're
So
seeing
he's
incremental growth too throughout
yes,
the weeks.
yes.
We're
The
seeing
line is getting
incremental.
more pressure, all of that. So JDR to me is safe. He still sucks. I would love to see him go, but right now he's safe because there's so much other bigger fires to put out.
Yeah, and we're seeing decrements in the offense. The offense is
Yes.
getting worse and worse and worse.
And it comes down to again Ron Rivera and his decisions with his offensive line. I'm sorry. We are struggling the way we are struggling solely because Ron Rivera and his GMs that he brought in didn't want to pay the guys that we had that are proven. I understand Brandon Sheriff didn't want to really be here. Okay, I get
And
that.
I understand Brandon Sheriff not getting paid to be here because when I mean, if you look at wins and losses with Brandon Sheriff, it's ridiculous. I think
Yes.
it's I don't know what the actual number is, but it's ridiculous. But
But to
from
go,
from the eye, you can see that Wes Schweitzer stepped in for Brandon Sheriff last year, and it wasn't that much of a decrease on the line, right? But to let Flowers go and to bring in Norwell and to bring in Trey Turner, and then 3 weeks into the season to bench Trey Turner for the guy who was supposed to replace Trent Williams at left tackle is now
yep,
playing right guard.
yep.
I get position flexibility, but I don't care about position flexibility. I
Yeah,
want
I
the
want a
best
dog
guy
at
at
every
that position.
position. Yes.
Yeah,
And then it's just I
and
just
time management. Jesus Christ, time management.
oh
Ron,
don't
you've been a
oh my
coach
god. I
15
forgot
years.
about the
How do you not
challenge.
know the challenge was fine, but back-to-back timeouts on back-to-back plays, like someone asked him in the press conference, I think it was Grant Paulson, said, "Did you call two plays out of the timeout?" And he would not answer the damn question.
No, clearly he did not. And on top of that, I think we wasted like 15 or 12 to 15 seconds between those plays, not knowing what the F we were doing. You
Yeah.
are in
And then the Curtis
one
Samuel
minute
running
drill.
backwards and the
Yeah.
play clock still running, all those things. Like it was a five. It was there was 5 minutes left in the drive.
It's
I
just
don't know how you end up with 19 seconds and three downs.
I don't
It's
understand how
it's
Ron
it's
Rivera can stand in front of the media, can stand up at that podium, and he keeps repeating, we're doing a lot of good things. We just have to get some other things right. We have to get the small things right. We have to fix the mistakes. We have to be more. That's your job. All you're telling me when you stand up there is, I have not been doing my job. Our coaching staff has not been doing our job. That's why nobody's prepared, nobody's learning, and we're not making improvements from week to week. We keep doing the same mistakes or we get even worse. Fix one thing a week. That's it. On the
yeah.
offense, fix one thing a week. Get rid of Norwell 1 week. We're happy. Get rid of Norton week 2. We're happy. Get rid of Dax Milne on special teams week 3. We're happy. One thing a week, one glaring issue a week. If you replace that, we will be happy. And the problem is those slow starts that you alluded to about Ron Rivera. That's what's happening right now. He has to do it his way. He has to be stubborn. He has to drown in his own confidence and pride. And then when the world is set on fire, then he's like, oh, yeah, let's make some changes. My way's not working. Why is it taking you
It
into
takes
week
him
5?
6 weeks too late to make changes.
Yeah.
It's yeah.
This was the
I'll
easy
I'll tell
stretch of our schedule.
I'll tell you the telling point for me was I watched Command Center Coach Command with Ron Rivera, whatever that stupid show is on Saturday nights, and they asked Ron, what's your strategy on coaching? And he said, we like to focus on the positives and what we've done good, and basically double down on what we've done good.
Right.
Well,
Which
Ron,
is terrible.
you're not doing anything good. Your team is not doing anything good. Maybe you need to chew into their asses a little bit and focus on the bad and fix the
Well,
bad rather
it's
than focusing on the good.
look at this analogy, right? Like, let's say you're training your son how to drive. Okay, he's behind the wheel, learner's permit, first time driving. He's terrible at parallel parking. Awful, god awful at it. Hits the car up, terrible. He's great at merging onto the highway and making left turns, whatever. Are you, as a parent, gonna sit there and be like, all right, let's take this left turn. Good job. Let's take this left turn. Good job. Let's take this left turn. Good job. You're gonna go nowhere, right? You're gonna keep making the same left turn. You're gonna go in a circle. You're going nowhere. And then when it's time for him to parallel park, crash and burn. Why not? If you're already doing the good stuff good,
Teach the
focus on the
bad.
bad stuff and fix it. Teach them how to parallel park. Teach them how to tackle. Teach Scott Turner how to call plays. I don't know what you need to do, but you can't focus on the good. B Mitch says it all the time. Sometimes these players need to hear that they suck. Not in front of the media, in the locker room. Tell them they suck. Throw F bombs at them. Get them fired up. Like disrespect their manhood to the point where they want to come in and work even harder to give a middle finger to you and show you that they know what to do. That's what you need. You need to find the balance of like tough ass coaching and leader of men culture change, right? You can't just be soft. He's soft right now. And again,
And he's
this
not
is
supposed to be a soft
this is
coach.
this is my not
That's what
PC side.
bothers me.
This is my not PC side coming out. But there's been reports and Washington Post articles and people discussing that post cancer treatment Ron has been taking it easy on Ron. He has to take his breaks. He has to take his naps. He can't shout as much. He needs lozenges. That's fine. That's all well and fine. But the NFL is a cutthroat business. If you can put players out there that have to risk CTE and concussions and put their body on the line and literally face death at any given moment, why can't you either put somebody in charge, bow out gracefully, say, guys, I can't handle the pressure anymore. I'm going to leave and we're going to find something. Like, do anything. But to just be drowning in your own pride, thinking, no, I can do this when clearly you cannot. It's hurting this entire franchise. It's the first year of this rebrand. There's a whole new generation that's never even seen like we haven't had 11 wins since before Snyder bought this team. The Giants are halfway there, quarter of the way there.
Yeah. The division is lost already, and it's week 5.
Let's put it this way, right? Thursday night, national TV, only game on. Commanders versus Bears. Bears are terrible. Bears still also have a one game better victory than us. What do you what would LP prefer to happen? Here's your options. We come out, Carson Wentz has an amazing game. The offense looks spectacular. We're winning 21-0 by halftime. Or we come out, Carson Wentz looks terrible. Taylor Heineke comes in and the offense looks great. Or Carson comes in, looks terrible. Heineke comes in, looks terrible. Sam Howell comes in, and then all of a sudden we start seeing a spark.
That's
What's
some
your
FP
preference?
fantasy land,
I
that
know it
last
is, but
scenario.
what's your what would you
I'm
rather? Let's simplify it. Do you want to see us come out 21-0 at halftime, or do you want to see us come out and struggle against the Bears?
I'm a lifelong fan of this team, and it pains me to ever want them to fail, and I cannot get myself to do that. I don't care if it's week 17. I want my team to win. So I want
See,
them to go
I I
21-0, and
I
I want
want
them to turn it around, and I
I
want them
want the
to end up
furnace to
going
blow.
11 and
I want the furnace to
12 and
blow.
4, whatever it is that's
I want
left.
us to come out on nationally televised games,
It's probably going to happen. I mean,
and I want us to lose 42-0 at halftime. I want the world to laugh and point and mock and destroy and criticize and protest this coaching staff because the owner's untouchable, right? And here's the thing.
I don't
I
think the
don't
Bears have
want
scored 42 points all season.
I don't
So I,
want here's the funny thing about what I'm saying. I do not want Ron Rivera fired. I don't believe that will help this team. Firing Ron Rivera and starting a brand new rebuild does not help us. What I want is Ron Rivera to make the tough decisions ahead of him, changing coordinators, right? Getting new guys in here, admitting that what he had at the start of the season wasn't enough, and making drastic changes, but still under the tutelage of Ron Rivera. Because I don't want us to set the house on fire, and then next year when we don't find a good replacement coach, when our GMs struggle because Ron's not here to do whatever he does with them, I don't want to deal with that reality. I want Ron Rivera to address what he needs to address. The problem is his track record,
he's too true to his guys. He won't. I don't think he's going to fire anybody.
and his track record is 3 winning seasons in 12 seasons.
Yeah, 3 winning seasons, all with Cam Newton in
I
his
just
prime.
I don't
I
know.
don't see that happening.
I
I
don't
don't
see
see.
Ron Rivera doing what he needs to do to fix this to right this ship.
eventually he's not going to be the guy at the helm. Like I
But
think we
at
can
the
all
same
say
point,
that. What's his
as a
contract?
fan, as a
What's his contract?
fan,
Is it 5 years?
5 years, 5 years.
Has
But
that
as a
been
fan, you
confirmed?
want us to tank. This is a strong QB draft class coming in. You want us to tank. I don't want us to suddenly
But
win
it's not
and
going to
go
happen. That
eight
doesn't happen.
wins.
That doesn't happen in Washington. We tank once out of every 20 years. Every other year we are 6, 7, 5, 6, 7 wins, and we're 10th in the draft, ninth in
Yeah,
the draft,
it
12th
needs
in the
to
draft.
change. It needs to. I need the tank. If
I
you
just
admit, if you admit without admitting that we're tanking, right? The fan base, I guarantee you, goes from angry to celebratory. If Sam Howell comes in and you don't have to hit the 75% starting on Wentz's contract so we can save one of our third round picks or however it's constructed. If you do that and Howell comes in or Heineke comes in, the fan base will rejoice. We will be happy that we've embraced the tank, the turd for Bryce Young.
I don't think it's going to happen. I don't see that happening.
I don't either, but it would make the fan base happy. It's what
So
we
F
as
the
a
fan
as a
base. Who
whole.
cares?
What do you mean F the fan base?
Win your fucking games. Win a game. Win
If
2
you're not
games.
gonna if you're
Win
not gonna
3 games.
win the rest of your
Go on a
games, don't
streak.
win any games.
I want to see improvement from last year. I want to see
You
improvement from the year before.
It won't happen. Honestly, winning the NFC East Ron's first year ruined everything.
Yeah,
Ruined
because they gave us all
everything.
false hope.
No, it gave Ron false hope. It made him think he's more capable than he is. That he's smarter than the rest of us. He came in and he tasted that victory and he's like, "Ha, I can do this." No, you can't, Ron Rivera. No, you can't. Look at your players. I sent you a clip earlier or an article earlier about Gibbs. It was almost a mirrored season. We started 1-4, vanilla, predictable. Everything was awful. There's an article where Gibbs is like, it starts with me. It starts with the coaching staff. I had the players sit with me and show me and tell me why our offense is predictable, to tell me why we can't score more than 14 points a game. It was the exact same season. It was a mirror of this season and that season with Gibbs. This was in like 2004. This was the year that he
Yeah,
brought in Al Saunders as his like consultant or whatever.
consultants.
It didn't help him at all, but it was Gibbs being what made Gibbs great, admitting that
Knowing his weaknesses.
and it was even bigger because Gibbs is an offensive minded coach, right? So for him to come in and be like, the offense is predictable, we need help. Do you know that that was the year where for like the first quarter of the season or like the season prior, like we never called a play in shotgun because that's how old school Gibbs was when he came back for Gibbs 2.0. We never called a play in shotgun until like that tipping moment, until he was like, we need to change things up. Ron Rivera, all you need to do is do
Ron
some
is the
media.
type of guy that will never be proven wrong, and he
Yes,
will never admit fault, and he will double down on his mistakes
yes,
because he wants
and
to
and
prove that he knows what he's doing.
that's what's driving the media crazy because he's acting like we're not watching the same thing he's watching.
In a sense, it's almost like Mike Shanahan. Mike Shanahan was the same way. He never admitted fault. Everything was on the player. Um, just it's just old school coaching, right? And I don't think that's how McVay runs his operation. I don't think how that's Kyle Shanahan runs his operation. Uh, you know, Mike McDaniel's, all these younger guys, right? I don't know. I also think that Scott Turner has got to be like the shittiest young coordinator in the
Yes,
league. Like
yes.
it's almost as if he's never played Madden before. Like he
Or he
doesn't
thinks
know how
the
to
NFL is Madden
do.
and he only has a finite amount of plays to choose from. You can change. You can create your own. You can sit. Did you see there was like some I think it was Diggs talking about Dable when he was with the Bills. And he would be like, Dable would call me up, cigar in his mouth, and he would be like, I'm drawing up plays to get you open when we face the Chiefs, the Vikings, whoever. He like Dable took pride in like getting his guys open, drawing creative plays, putting his vision like in the playbook and seeing it carried out. Scott Turner does not do that. I don't think he understands the concept of drawing your playmakers open. I don't think he knows what that means.
No. However, I do believe that, say we had a young, I don't care if young or old, but a creative offensive play caller. I do think our team would be more than 1-4. So I don't think that
Yes, we would be.
I
Again,
don't
because
I still
all
don't
the
think that we
bitching
would
that
be
we
a
have,
top echelon team. We're just not.
but all
I-
the bitching that we have, it's not really on Carson. I mean, he's what, fifth in league in passing yards, some insane stat about how many touchdown passes he has. Like he has unlocked this part of the offense where we have deep threats and we can produce explosive plays. Carson has unlocked that offense. Yet we're not putting together the simplified, dumbed down version that we had for Heineke, where J.D. McKissick was utilized and proved to be great, where Logan Thomas was utilized, or our new drafted tight end. We forgot the dumbed down part of the playbook, and now it's just pound the rock didn't work, pound the rock didn't work, pound the rock didn't work, deep shot, and that's our offense. And it only looks good when that deep shot hits one every 4 times. Pound the rock doesn't work. Pound the rock doesn't work. Pound the rock doesn't work. Deep shot.
I think you're counting way too many pound the rocks. If they only ran the ball 10 times last game and until the last drive of the game. Bottom line, I think Scott is just, I don't know what it is with him. Like, I don't know how you can change him because he changes often for a quarter at a time and it doesn't stick. Last year it was stick to the run and he just never did that. This year it's everything is so predictable. Brian Robinson comes in the game. What's the play call? Run the ball. Bunch formation. What's the play call? It's the same thing every time. Like it's so predictable, and I'm just done with Scott Turner. FP, you are failing miserably. You are Scott Turnering the mute button today.
I'll say, I was saying he is failing miserably at being a coordinator, but he has to be on the hottest seat inside of Ashburn. If anything were to happen that you calm this fan base down and you buy yourself more time, it's changing Scott Turner. But
And
here's
and,
the issue.
but the
Who do
problem
you
is,
go to?
well, no, the issue is the bye week is still 6 weeks away or something like that.
We can
So the
only make
only time you
adjustments in
could
bye
do
week.
that, well, usually when you would flip a coordinator right before the bye, so that you have 2 weeks to install your new offense, all those things. The
Yeah, but
second
right
best
now,
time
you
would
this
be
is the
after a
best time to do
Thursday
it.
game.
Yes. So
I
do
still
it
don't see
now.
it. I don't see it happening.
My problem
Let's
is
let's pivot. Let's pivot to the Bears game. The Bears are 2-3. They beat the Niners in week 1 and they beat the Texans in week 3. They scored 19 points week 1, 10 points in week 2, 23 points in week 3, 12 points in week 4, and 22 points against the Vikings last week. Passing yards, they've passed for 105 yards, 48 yards, 82 yards, 155, and a buck 93. This offense against the Bears is, inept, right? More so than the Commanders.
I I
How
I
do you
think they
see the
score
game
more
playing
points than us. If you add up all their points scored, is it more than all the points we've scored?
Probably. I don't
Pretty
know.
sure.
I'm not gonna do the math that fast.
I'll say this: Justin
Justin
Fields,
Fields is throwing like 8 times a game.
but he's mobile though, right?
Let's pull him up.
He's mobile. That's his whole thing. Or he's more mobile than Carson. And
Well, that's another part of the problem.
do they have
Carson
any
is mobile.
weapons?
He's just not running.
I don't think
So
the
he
Bears
he
have weapons. They
he
have Amon
threw.
Ra's brother, Equiminius. That's like their deep threat? Who's their
David
running back?
Montgomery's literally the only person I know
Yeah,
on that team.
exactly.
So he had 8 completions, 7 completions, 8 completions, 11 completions, and 15 completions.
Yeah.
He's had 2 touchdowns, 0 touchdowns, 0 touchdowns, 0 touchdowns, and 1 touchdown. He's had 3 touchdowns all season. I
Yet
don't
they
if
have a
if you
better
lose
record
to
than
the
us.
Bears, oh my gosh, I don't know. I mean, things have to be blown up if you lose to the Bears.
When we lose to the Bears,
Let's pivot to
Justin Fields is
over
gonna look
unders.
like RG3 in 2012 against us.
Let's pick our winners and pivot to over unders for the game on Thursday night. Primetime game. We know Washington doesn't matter who the coach is. Washington does not do good in primetime. I do believe we've won with Ron in primetime before, but still overall pretty bad in primetime. Justin Fields over under 174.5 is what Vegas has it set to.
174.5 passing yards.
Yeah.
Is William Jackson III playing, or is his back still hurt?
William Jackson III is benched.
Okay,
His
I'm gonna
back
go
is a
under.
cover up on that.
Yeah, just
So
like Carson's shoulder is a cover up suddenly.
he had 121 yards, 70 yards, 106 yards,
Yeah,
174 yards, and
under,
208 yards.
under.
So he's beat 174.5 once, and that was last week against Minnesota. All right, Carson Wentz, 220.5
Under.
over. I'm going under for Fields, over for Wentz. Total touchdown passes, Justin Fields at half a touchdown.
Over. We'll get burnt beat once with a deep play.
I'm gonna go over as well. Carson Wentz 1.5.
Over.
Go over as well. Total interceptions, 0.5 for Wentz, 0.5 for Carson. I'm gonna go over for both.
Over. Yeah.
So that six leg parlays plus 3,500. Taking
That's
that
easy
now.
money. Yep,
Taking
that's
that
easy money.
now.
Put 100 on that for me.
How do you see the game playing out?
I see the defense having a really strong first quarter. I see the offense coming out flat. It's going to put the defense in a tough position. It's going to be somewhere in the 12 to 6 ballpark at halftime. And if we don't adjust at halftime, because apparently that's the only time we can adjust, this game is going to be way too close for comfort. Last drive, meaning either team to win the game
Or to lose the game?
or to lose the game.
I see that the
Final
same thing.
score, final score like a 21-17.
Who do you got?
I mean, I'm a homer. I have to say us. I have to say Commanders. But would I be surprised if it was the Bears? No.
Yeah, I'm gonna go 15-17 Washington. I just think this is code red for the team. Lots of adversity this week. Carson
Is Chase
brushed
gonna
it off
play this
today.
week?
He hasn't been activated yet, and I don't think he's been practicing, so I highly doubt that. It looks like Dotson is also out because he hasn't practiced yet, and he failed or he refused to put a timetable on his return, which usually means it's not this week.
Yeah.
Logan Thomas also looks like he's probably going to be out. So that's two playmakers for the Commanders.
Cosme is
Cole
still not back.
Turner, Cosme's still not back. I do see Norwell getting benched. Um,
You would hope
I,
so.
I could see that. I don't know who would come in for him. Is Schweitzer back? If so, or was he put on IR? He may have
Honestly,
been put on IR. I think he had back-to-back concussions. He may have been put on IR.
four linemen is better than five. Five as with Norwell or four without him. Four is better.
All right, here's the injury report. Percy Butler is a DNP. Sam Cosme is still a DNP. The fucking finger. Dotson is a DNP. Logan Thomas was a DNP. Jonathan Williams was a DNP. Limited was Diami with a groin. Christian Holmes limited with a hamstring. William Jackson He was full on Monday and then limited today on Tuesday, but I think he's benched either way. And then Mayo and Wentz were both limited. I think Wentz is fine. I think that's a cover up.
100% it's a cover up. Do we
And then
see
the
Heineke on
Bears
Thursday?
put someone on IR.
Answer my
Matt
question.
Adams, uh, Keanu Neal Harry, or whatever his name is
A bunch
limited.
of nobodies. Nobody cares
And then
about
2
them.
DBs are full.
Do we see Heineke on Thursday? Yes
I
or
don't
no?
think so. No.
Would you be upset if you saw Heineke on Thursday?
I think that the second Heineke comes in is season officially over and the tank is on.
Now, what if Heineke comes in and this offense looks like it's a well-oiled machine and we're moving the ball efficiently and all problems have been resolved?
I
The
think we know
O-line
from last
suddenly
week.
looks better because he has better pocket awareness and mobility.
Well, he has better mobility for sure.
100% better pocket awareness too.
I think we saw this offense with Heineke last year, and
Yeah.
at times it was good, at times it wasn't.
But we also saw this offense with Heineke without the playmakers that we have.
But we also know that Heineke doesn't have the arm to stretch the field.
What's the
I,
point of
I,
stretching the field if you still go 1 for 12 on third down?
we talked about this earlier. Wentz is not the
I'm
problem.
I'm not saying Wentz is the problem. What I'm saying is Heineke coming in, I feel like something clicks with Scott Turner and he shifts the game plan and all
If
of a
you're
sudden it
looking
works.
if you're looking for a spark, the spark to me would be to bench Norwell to put somebody else there.
I for one would be happy to see Heineke. I miss him. I miss him.
I'm a Heineke fan, but I just know like his ceiling is a backup, and I don't see that as a path to any more success this year.
I
Sure,
think
we could
he
probably
is.
tank with Heineke.
No. That's the thing. I don't think you tank with Heineke. I think Scott Turner doesn't see the rocket arm that Carson has anymore, and his play calling adjusts to Heineke. I think Scott Turner's in over his head of being like, we spent all this money on Carson because he has a rocket of an arm, so we have to do the plays this way. And I think that's what's not working.
There's only one way to find out, and that's to wait till Thursday. I don't think it happens, but we'll see.
Yep.
This has been
Caps
fun.
caps tomorrow. That's all that matters.
Taps are back in action tomorrow. Wizards are still in preseason, but I think the season starts in a week or two. KCP Porzingis is already injured. I have zero expectations for the Wizards. This has been fun for FP, for LP. This is DTC. Interact with us on Twitter at Defeat the Curse. Let us know what you think. We are out.